Sound check, 1 2 1 2. Sound check, 1 2 1 2. And we are live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to BWTM Sports. Thank you for joining us. And we're talking Eubank Jr. versus Arthur Abraham. Post-fight, apologies, I didn't commentate on this particular fight. It was my birthday, and I thought, you know what? I'm just going to sit back and enjoy a good night of boxing without shouting and screaming and to the top of my voice over a fight that I thought would go pretty much the way it did. On the outset, before the fight was actually, the two fighters actually got in the ring and fought, I spoke about Arthur Abraham, my concerns about Abraham and his weight and him struggling to make the weight. And indeed, he did struggle to make the weight. 37, 38 years old now. He did struggle to make the weight, and third attempt, he made it on the scales, ready to fight. Eubank always comes in condition, in tremendous shape. And before I continue, I will say congratulations to Chris Eubank Jr., still the IBO super middleweight champion of the world. And also I will say the boy did good. The boy did really good. Typical Eubank Jr. Continue to build on his brand, which is Eubank Jr. rather than Eubank Sr. or the Eubank legacy. Usual blurring out, good hand speed, good combination punching, wicked uppercuts whipped in, good body shots, the usual posing, the usual stuff from Eubank. And he is a showman, no doubt about it. Takes after his father. Those are some positive things. Was managed to push Abraham back and hurt him significantly enough for Abraham to stop an onslaught of punches coming on to him, to stop Abraham being able to launch too many attacks without being stunned significantly enough to back up. So we can at least safely say that Eubank hits respectfully hard enough for someone like Arthur Abraham to respect him. So that's good to see. He threw barrage after barrage after barrage of punches for 12 rounds. We knew he had a great engine, and once again, Eubank Jr. again has shown us that he's got a great engine. Tick. Abraham caught him with a great shot. Showed he had a good chin. Tick. So stamina, work rate, punching power. Okay, we'll give him. He's not a one-punch knockout artist at the world level. We know that now. If you're going to knock you out, it's going to be like a cumulative effect. In other words, like chopping a tree over and over and over again. Against the elite level, at least. We know that now, at least at super middleweight. But then you see, in time, he may fill out and still at the super middleweight division still develop, and his power may get better. So there's that. Now, so those are all the pluses. And of course, he's qualified. He's in the world Super 8. Fantastic. That would have been a disaster had Eubank lost that fight. So that's great. Downside, of course, Abraham is not the Abraham that fought, and we weren't expecting. We were expecting to see something of Abraham, but he wasn't the fighter that we know Arthur Abraham to be. So he certainly is on the tail end of his career, and we thought maybe he had something left. He had something left. He was still as tough as nails. He tried to do what he did 5 years ago, try to remember the script, but of course, the mind was willing, but the body wasn't able, and that was clear to see. So in terms of that, Eubank beat a shell of a fighter in Arthur Abraham. He still beat him. He still beat Arthur Abraham, and to his credit, only the very best beat Arthur Abraham. So you've got to say, in that respect, it's a good win. The Abraham style was always going to be good for Eubank because of those uppercuts, which made he rocked Abraham's back so many times in the fight. You know, I would like to see Eubank fight Abraham a lot younger and see how he would have dealt with that Arthur Abraham. Downside, Eubank and his defensive lapse of concentration. I have concerns about that. And I also have concerns with the instruction of Eubank Senior. Just play with him are one of the instructions that Eubank Senior gave Eubank Junior. And it was actually when he gave him those instructions is when he got nailed with a big shot. Fortunately, at this time, Eubank was able to get away with such stuff. I don't think, in my humble opinion, that you can keep on getting away with stuff, defensive lapses of concentration, until you actually put in a situation. Until you're put in a situation where you actually are genuinely hurt. You are genuinely hurt, and it's only a matter of time. You can't keep boxing like this over and over and over again. Eubank seems to fight one way. What's the word? He fights at levels, so he can crank it up, but he only fights that one way. And is that one way enough to win a Super 8 tournament? I'm not so sure. If the blueprint is anything to go by, Andre Ward, then Andre Ward showed us that you have to be versatile. You need to be able to adapt. Can Chris Eubank Jr. adapt? Can he, if he's fighting a guy that's taller than him, will he be able to deal with a guy who's a puncher who's taller than him? Will he be able to get inside and fight effectively? If he's fighting a guy who is probably got faster hands than him or better boxing than him, how does he deal with that? So there's still things in the Eubank locker we haven't seen yet, or there's some things in the Eubank armory you haven't seen. Another good sign about Chris Eubank Jr., when he did get hit with a good shot, he came roaring back, which means there's some heart there. So we'll tick that box as well. If he gets hit and hurt, he will come fight roaring back again. But against the world's elite, is what he's doing so far enough to win a Super 8? And that's how we've got to be talking now, because he's in a major tournament. For those people who would say Eubank Jr. is world class, I would beg to differ. I would say this fight against Arthur Abraham was his break into world class, because he didn't beat Billy Joe Saunders, regardless of what you may think. He didn't beat Billy Joe Saunders, and so this was his first, for me, world class, proven world class. When I talk about world class, I don't mean you win one fight and then you can break into world class, which means that you've beaten somebody who's in the world top 10 or the world top 50. You've broken into world class. Now, to cement yourself as a world class fighter, you have to consistently do that. Now, that's over 2 or 3 fights. Like Carl Frampton would be an example of somebody who I think is world class. He's fought at world level. He's broken into world level, fighting Kiko Martinez and beating Kiko Martinez, then repeating that, then fighting Scott Quigg, then going and fighting Leo Santa Cruz, winning and losing to Leo Santa Cruz. World class, operating at the elite level, fighting guys within the top 10. So that's why I would consider elite, and consistently, not just that's just for boxing, but in all sports. I think an elite athlete or elite team is a team that's playing teams that are competitive within their own league and better than. So, beating teams that are in the top 10, I would say you're a world-class team. Beating people in the top 10 or a tennis player, beating somebody in the top 10, I would call you a world-class athlete. As a runner or as racing car driver, playing against the very best and performing and doing well and succeeding, I would say either succeeding or giving the best a lot of trouble, I would call you a world-class athlete. I cannot call you a world-class athlete when you're fighting guys at domestic level and European level. Sorry, I can't call you world-class. You may have world-class potential, but you're not world-class. And that's been my argument with a lot of our fighters and a lot of the guys in the past. He's world-class. Well, how do you know that? He's fought nobody in the top 20. He's fought nobody in the top 30. He's fought nobody in the top 50. Yeah, he's world-class. So my argument is, now Eubank he's broken into world-class. Now he's in the World Super 8. So now he can solidify his position as a world-class fighter, fighting the elite fighter. So he beats Arthur Abraham. Great start. Now let's see you move on and do something other than that. So That's my kind of point on that. But I'm really happy for Eubank, senior and junior. They're doing things their own way. They're independents, happy for what they're doing, and I'm really, really happy for them. Just shout out to them. Shout out to Duke McKenzie as well. Love listening to talk. So three-weight world champion. Not a lot of people talk about Duke McKenzie's achievements, but he fought in a wicked era and he did well for himself. So shout out to Duke McKenzie. It's always good to hear him commentate. Nice to see George Groves on the side there talking. You know what? I've got a newfound respect for George Groves, because you know what? I've said a lot of things about George Groves, but I can tell you one thing. That last fight he had where he won the title, he proved more to me in that fight than he has done in all of his career so far, because it was a fight I didn't think he could win. It was a fight where he was getting hit back. It was a fight he was backwards up against the ropes, and he's able to show his punching power when it mattered in a tough fight. So George Groves for me is a seasoned super middleweight. He's dangerous because he punches with either hand. I'm not sure about his durability, George Groves. Durability is always a question mark, and stamina. But he fought a ferocious pace the other day to win his world title. So George Groves is one we've got to watch out for. Callum Smith, unknown. He's somebody who hasn't fought at all in the top 10, top 15 for me, opponents. So he's got to prove himself. Jamie Cox is a complete unknown quantity. Everyone talks about him being a top fighter. We don't know. The Super 8 will prove that. Of course, if he goes on and beats George Groves, then you know there's a great start, and Jamie Cox really jumps into the world elite. Other fighters I have to go and study a bit more and look into, but yeah, congratulations to Eubank Jr. Is he versatile enough? Can he adapt his style? Can he make the changes necessary at elite level? Can he do that, or is that going to be all we get from him? Sorry, but nothing Arthur Abraham did was world class. Therefore, you can't see Eubank case. I think what Abraham's done in his career has made him a world class fighter. The things he's done at middleweight, and he did at super middleweight. So sorry, I beg to differ. I think Abraham is a world class fighter. In the decline, yes, but he's still a world class fighter. So I disagree with you there. Biggest attribute Abraham has is heart and chin. Skill wise, not much. I disagree with you again there. You know, you don't need two-weight world champion fight the guys like Ellison Miranda, Howard Eastman, Durrell. Abraham beat some very good fighters, and I'm sorry, I can't agree with you there. I agree to disagree, but I don't agree with you. I think Abraham is a world-class fighter, and prime Abraham was a tough nut for anybody in super middleweight division. You're looking at Abraham now is way past his best. You know, there were people when Froch fought Abraham thought that Abraham could beat Froch. Let's take you back then. So Abraham was a dangerous man. He's on the slide at 38 years old, 37, 38 years old. So I can't have that. I'm sorry. I can't agree with you there. But you're an opinion then, and you're entitled to that. Someone like Groves has all the attributes to beat Eubank Jr. If Groves can take relentless pressure. Again, Groves is a seasoned super middleweight now. I hope he's learned from fights of Froch, and the fight he had with Badu Jack, and the fight he had with DeGale. I hope he's learned from all those fights, and that he can now make the mistakes he's made and improve on it. Again, in terms of George Groves, I still don't like the way he carries out his lead hand. I always feel he's vulnerable to a right hand over the top. So George Groves, for me, his biggest attribute is his punching power, not his jab, his punching power. And I think that's what keeps him in any fight at the super middleweight division. What do you make of the? What do you make? Who do you make as favourite as it stands now going Super Series tournament, and thoughts and swords versus Million Row? Favourite, I haven't studied enough, but if I'm going to pick a favourite, I'll pick a guy who's versatile, a guy who can box, a guy who can punch. A guy, okay, he might not be the biggest puncher, but punches respectfully enough. So I'm going to be looking through the Super 8 to see a guy who's versatile, who doesn't just box the same way all the time. I'm looking for the blueprints of Andre Ward. If you fight the same way in every fight, I don't think you win the Super 8 tournament. I think you've got to be a guy that's versatile. If you just a come forward fight, I don't think you win the tournament. I think you have to be a guy who can fight on the front foot, can fight on the front back foot, move to the sides, and is adaptable, can change it up all the time. That's what made Ward so better than the rest of the fighters, because he was able to be adaptable. So I think a fighter has to be adaptable to fight in this tournament. I have to look at the opponent that Eubank is going to fight, and I'll do a video on that. And I think I might do a special, which I'll look at all the guys taking part in the Super 8 tournament and then give my thoughts on that. But I think for Eubank Jr. to go in and beat Arthur Abraham the way he did, as convincingly he did, it was far more convincing than the Quinlan fight. So is it that Abraham looked so bad? Is it that Eubank has now filled in better at super middleweight? I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. But having a heart does count. So Froch was world class then. Of course he was a world class fighter. Are you going to tell me Carl Froch was not a world class fighter? He was ranked. He was the only guy that was better than him. What at the time was Andre Ward. Got beat by Andre Ward. He got beat by Mikkel Kessa. Two guys I think are world class fighters, Mikkel Kessa and Andre Ward. So yes, Froch is world class, and he fought the world's best in the top 10. So that for me consists of him being a world class fighter. He was around and in and around the elite all the time, fighting back to back at the Super 6. He fought the Super 6. He went on and fought Butte and beat Butte. He went on and fought Kessler again. So I think Froch is a world class fighter, and I will not, in my opinion, he's a world class fighter, and I'll always defend Carl Froch. He may not have been the most slickest. He might not have been the most agile. He might not have been the most. He might be the best boxer, but what he had, he used very well. And for me, Froch will always be, for me, a world-class fighter. He'll never be better than Andre Ward, but he is a world-class fighter. And he never was number one in the world, ever, at no point in time. And that's the one thing I'll always say when they have the Calzaghe-Froch argument. My argument is Froch was never rated number one in the world, whereas Calzaghe was. And that's, it squashes the argument in that sense. Heart takes you a long way. Heart will take you some way. It'll take you a long way to a pace thing if you can't box and you can't fight. I mean, you look at the fight against Jermaine Taylor. It wasn't Froch's boxing skills that won him that fight against Jermaine Taylor. It was his ticker and his chin. Because first he had to get off the deck, showed heart. To get off the deck to beat Taylor, he needs to get off the deck first. And then he had to really show that heart and that stamina to come through and stop Taylor in the 12th round. A fight that he wasn't, you know, he was behind on the scorecard. So, and that got him into the Super 6, let's remember. So shout out to Carl Froch for that. Yeah, he beat every man they put in front of him apart from Ward, though I had Darrell being robbed. Okay, cool. So enough. It's a shame DeGale didn't enter because he has the tools you mentioned that will allow him to win. Thing about DeGale, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again, and I'll keep on saying it, and until somebody does listen. I said it way back before he fought Badou Jack. I said he needs to be careful because Badou Jack can punch a lot harder than people give him credit for. And the second thing is James DeGale's lack of defense. James DeGale, since he turned pro, has been under Jim McDonnell, and I rate Jim McDonnell for the fitness side of things. I think if DeGale were to fight or to train with the Mayweathers, or he had some form of defense instead of stopping fake shots with his face and his chin, because he takes an awful lot of punishment. He doesn't need to. He'd be a much better fighter. And DeGale takes too many punches, and you can't keep taking them sort of punches. And it showed in the Badou Jack fight. So Badou Jack got him, knocked him down, and almost knocked him out. So and removed his front teeth. So you need to have defense. I can't keep talking about defense enough. You have to be defensively responsible. The guys that are more defensively responsible are going to be guys that I'm always going to be backing, because they're the guys who are going to be riding shots, avoiding shots, and looking to land their own shots without getting themselves tagged. Boxers are about getting hit and not get hit. So being defensively responsible is another key thing. I don't think Chris Eubank Jr. is defensively responsible at this point in time. He leaves himself open at times to get caught with big shots, and he's got a good chin at this point in time. Froch was another one of those guys, and he was able to get away with it, but Froch could punch, I think, much harder than Eubank Jr. And we'll see. We'll see. We'll see how good his chin is going through the Super 8. Let's see what people are saying. Let's talk sports, not gaming. Let's talk sports. Why has Ambrose Many switched up? First, he said he was the best. Now he's saying Eubank beats DeGale and Groves. Just hating because he's not part of a team DeGale. Possibly. Quite possibly. And another thing said, I think Eubank's relentlessness will be tough on most. I think, yes, a mover would certainly give him problems, but can they withstand him over 12 rounds? Yeah, he has a style that keeps going and going and going. But we're yet to see Eubank in the ring. Billy Joe Saunders was the last guy we thought that was active, that was sharp, that could box, that could punch a bit. I didn't just stand there and take blows. Eubank will look great against guys who are flat-footed and come forward at him. Those type of guys he's going to look great against. A mover is going to give Eubank, and can box, is going to give Eubank problems. We saw that against Billy Joe Saunders. I don't think Eubank Jr. has improved that much, but he's fought a lot of flat-footed guys. Yes, be honest. Who's been the best boxer he's fought since Saunders? Still waiting. Exactly. There's my point. Let's see. Genius tends to load up with that left hook sometimes. He does indeed. I think, again, against a guy who could counter punch, it'll be interesting to see how he does against a counter puncher. I mean, a guy like Gennady Golovkin would love to see how he done against Golovkin. Yeah, he'll throw them punches, but Golovkin can punch. He can punch the body and head, distance and timing, all these things that a world-class fighter can do. So when he comes charging forward like that against most fighters, domestically and European, he'll do well. But against a world-class athlete that has the ability to box and move and distance and time and when to put the jab or when not to put the jab, when to throw the right hand, when to throw the left hook, when to tie up, when to throw shots in the inside, getting him to fight on the inside, all those sort of tricks and movements and little things like that, we have to see Eubank against. At the moment, he's fought guys that suit his style. Golovkin, now we're talking about a guy who has got a jab on him, who has got punching power in both hands, that can negate a guy charging forward all the time. Just like Arthur Abraham was unable to charge forward against Eubank Jr. Well, the same could be said for if he fought someone like a Golovkin. Well, now Golovkin, he is slow of hand and foot as far as I'm concerned, but he hits tremendously hard. How does Eubank deal with that sort of resistance? We need to see. We saw the resistance, how he dealt with resistance against Saunders. That was a long time ago, and he would argue and say, "Well, I started slowing his fight." Nobody asked you to do that. The other thing, and I will keep on saying this, the world-class instruction from Eubank Senior, I'm not sure about if that's world-class instruction he's getting. I'm not sure. I don't agree with everything Eubank Senior is saying. Well, who am I? I haven't boxed that level. So somebody would say, well, Eubank Senior knows what he's talking about. But again, telling a fighter to play with another fighter, I still think it's risky business, personally. Quinlan put in a better fight than Abraham. He did. I have to be fair. As I can't see him being taken out. Power, not too much, but he's certainly concussive. Agreed. Ross Clark, good to see you in the room. Junior's defense is pretty bad. Yep, it is pretty bad. Ramirez will be a horrible matchup for Eubank. 6'2", slick southpaw with power. Shame he didn't sign up. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Him and at super middleweight. You know, I still look at Eubank as an incomplete fighter. I always look at him and think, there's still something missing about this boy. I don't know what it is. He still isn't complete. And he's done well so far. And I'm not going to knock him. Let's just see how far it takes him. Eubank at Sid middleweight has no power. Disagree with you. He has power. But if he has respectable power. Has he got one punch knockout power? No. Why isn't Gilberto Ramirez in the tournament? Good God knows. DeGale might not be the same fighting in two back-to-back wars. Yeah, it's probably good that he's not in that tournament. Yeah, but he hurt Abraham, so he must have power. I think he has. So will Saunders improve under Dominic Ingle? How will you see Saunders Morocco just announced today? Morocco box. Moroccan box, I'll tell you that much. Monroe can box. Monroe's got a good chin. Saunders can say what he likes, and I like Billy Joe. Don't get me wrong, I like Billy Joe. He's been out of the ring a while. I don't know where Billy Joe Saunders' head is at the moment. He's WBO champion, but nobody really cares about him, and that's down to his promotional team and him himself. I don't know what it is exactly. He's now fighting William Monroe Jr. Okay, William Monroe Jr. is no mug. That's the first thing. And two, I can't believe Saunders has actually talked about William Monroe Jr. and Golovkin. First of all, Saunders don't punch anywhere near as hard as Golovkin. That's the first thing. Saunders doesn't have the aura of a Golovkin. That's the second thing. The third thing is William Monroe won't be coming to the fight concerned about Saunders' punching power. So that's going to allow Saunders to box Monroe to box his own way. I think it's going to be an interesting fight. We're going to see how good Billy Joe Saunders really is. Can Monroe beat Billy Joe Saunders? Hell yeah, he can. Hell yeah, he can beat Billy Joe Saunders. If the Billy Joe Saunders that turned up and fought the other day the way he did, Billy Joe Saunders is in trouble because Monroe's slick. He's a good boxer. Don't mistake William Monroe Jr. with fights Golovkin the Saunders, because he's going to cause Saunders a whole heap of problems, I think. So Saunders better be on his A game. He better be. I can't see him staying with Ingle, to be honest. Just look at his face expression, body language. Abraham was battered for 12. Yeah, Abraham got a beating for 12. Dominic Ingle will give Billy Joe Saunders his first loss. We'll wait to see. Saunders hates quitters. Well, let's just make sure it doesn't happen with him. Marky B says nothing came back. It was 12-round battering, and he still didn't drop him or stop him. So Golovkin went 12 rounds with Danny Jacobs. Right? Because a guy doesn't drop a guy or stop a guy, this is an elite athlete now, you know. How many people drop and stop Arthur Abraham? Can I ask you, Marky B? Come back and tell me who's the last person to drop Arthur Abraham. Come back and tell me who that person was that stopped Arthur Abraham. I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting. Considering bigger punches than Eubank Jr., bigger super middleweights have fought Eubank Jr. You have fought Abraham and not stopped him. Don't know where you're going with that argument. Anonymous 1337 says, to be fair, with Abraham's style, keeps him in there. If he had a conventional style, he would have got KO'd. I agree. I agree with you. Hopefully, Eubank Jr. versus Billy Joe Saunders happens within the year. I don't see it happening. I personally don't see it happening. But who knows? Eubank has got too much padding on his knuckles. Possibly. Eubank is a combination puncher with speed. Not much on them. Enough to keep Arthur Abraham off him and to hit him with them uppercuts. Listen, Eubank hits with enough power. I won't have it. He hits. Listen, you see where he hit him with punches and push Arthur Abraham from one side of the ring to the other side of the ring. He hits hard enough. People saying that Floyd Mayweather isn't hard enough. Okay, stay there. I think Eubank Cox would be like Spike. Eubank Spike all over again. Be a good looking scrap though. Nah, I think Cox is better than Spike. Eubank beat the shit out of Cox. Billy Joe Saunders didn't look good in his last fight. No, he didn't. Cox is in trouble against Groves. Never mind Eubank. I think beating Abraham was a good win. I do too. Mayweather goes 12 rounds and never stops anybody. Does he need to? Does he need to? The only thing in boxing you need to do is hit and not get hit. If you knock people out, that's a bonus. Hit and not get hit. If you want to see guys knock people out all the time, watch Prize Fighter. Abraham, very negative fighter. High guard. Does Joe Gallagher training? Eubank was not a concussive puncher at middleweight, let alone super middleweight. Okay. If a person isn't not a concussive puncher, then why have they got knockouts to their record? I would say David Brophy's not a concussive puncher. 12 fights, 1 KO. Eubank's a concussive puncher. But who is he not knocking out? If he's not knocking out guys that get knocked out, then we have a debate. But if he's knocking out guys that don't get knocked out, i.e. Arthur Abraham, then I'm not sure if that's a great comparison. He put Blackwell in a coma. I think that's enough power. Yeah, he punches hard enough. I won't have that. Is Groves Eubank's hardest fight in the series? Don't know. The guy coming up could be quite tasty, but have a look at him. Has he iced people like Lemieux? No, but Lemieux has been knocked out himself. Curtis Stevens has iced people, but he's been knocked out himself. I'm not sure what you want. He is what he is. Okay? Andre Ward's not the biggest puncher in the world. Floyd Mayweather's not the biggest puncher in the world. And actually, I would go on to say is guys that are not the biggest punchers in the world have to work on their boxing skills far much more. And I think guys that rely on one punch knockout artists become one-dimensional, and so therefore they them too end up getting knocked out. They too end because they rely on their punching power all the time. Okay, so I don't think it's essential that person has a knockout. Okay, name me a fighter that you know who's knocked everybody out at world level. Name me one. Everybody knocks everybody out at world level. It's garbage. Doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. Some of Ali's best wins went all 15. Not getting a KO doesn't mean you don't get the job done. Thank you very much. Educate these people, please. Paulie Malignaggi, you don't have to be. It comes down to Junior, isn't his dad. I think we need to stop the comparisons. I agree. This is a sports channel. Thank you very much. Please educate the people that are in the room talking at other things. This is a sports channel. Let's keep it talking sports, please. Certain casuals are suggesting Eubank is the deadliest puncher, and I'm exposing these myths. He's not the deadliest puncher. He is a respectable puncher. He punches hard enough. When you know how you know if somebody's a puncher or punches? Watch and see what how the opponent reacts when they're walking them down. Go back and watch the video of Arthur Abraham trying to walk down Chris Eubank Jr. How many times was Arthur Abraham able to walk Chris Eubank Jr. back against the ropes and force him backwards? And then how many times was Eubank able to stop him in his tracks and force him back? That's how you know if a person punches. If you can command the respect and stop a guy from charging at you, and you can disrupt his rhythm, you punch hard enough. If Mayweather wasn't a puncher, guys would walk right through. So Mayweather can punch. It's just that he doesn't rely on his punch power. So I think Junior can do well. If it was down to you, would you keep Eubank at 168 or 160, where he would be stronger? I'd keep him 160. Personally, I'd keep Eubank at 160 and wait until his body really fills out for 168. No, I'd keep Junior 168 just because he's got a better chance of being a unified champion. Well, maybe so. After the win of Golovkin and Canelo, a great fight for Eubank Jr. Personally, I would rather see Eubank Jr. take that fight, the win of Golovkin versus Canelo, than what he's going through now. He's gonna have to go through hell and high water to become the numero uno of a division a division which, even if he wins that title and he wins the Super 8, he's still not really recognized as number one because you've got Gilberto Ramirez and James DeGale. So what do you do? Just a point. He don't want GGG at 160. I think Eubank will be a 12-round fighter against tough opposition. That's what I think. Eubank certainly has flaws, but most I do believe, and even so, I do think he is entertaining to watch. But certainly need to see him in with someone with the skills of Billy Joe Saunders, preferably Billy Joe Saunders against. I agree. Yeah, I agree with you. Totally agree. We need to see him against somebody who's young, who's hungry, who's not been knocked out 10 or 15 times. That's the sort of guy we need to see now, a guy who's coming to win. And all the guys in the Super 8 tournament are coming to win. There we go. Now you're talking. All the guys that are missing: Ramirez, DeGale, Benavidez, Durrell brothers. I can't remember his name. I had pronounced the guy that knocked out Julian Jackson. He's not even in it in the Super 8. Will Groves will be the acid test. Eubank could possibly beat Triple G. Junior is younger, stronger, and has a chin. I tell you who I'd like to have seen. I'd like to see Eubank step up and fight someone like I'd like to see him fight Gabe Rosado. I'd like to see him fight that. I'm not saying Gabe Rosado would beat him, but I'd like to see what sort of problems, if any, Gabe Rosado could give to Eubank Jr. That's the sort of fight I'd like to see. I would like to see Eubank Jr. fight David Lemieux, because we know he was a devastating puncher. I'd like to see him fight Curtis Stevens. Certain guys I'd like to see Eubank Jr. fight before into the Super 8, but there we go. Would you have Jacob a favourite over Eubank Jr.? Yes. Let's not hype Triple G up. He's not unbeatable. Hello, I'm not a hyper of Triple G, and I think, like I said about Kovalev, and I predicted how Kovalev would get beat. You get on Kovalev's chest. These Eastern European fighters, they're all great at fighting on the outside. They cannot fight on the inside. Once you get on their chest, they're lost. They don't know what to do. Now, if Canelo can get on GGG's chest, push him back. If you put GGG on his back foot, right, and you don't allow GGG to throw his punches, put him on the back foot, right, that's how you beat Gennady Golovkin. On the back foot, on his chest. You're not going to beat Gennady Golovkin if he takes center of the ring and he moves forward, because that's where he gets all his momentum. You've got to hit me. Go look at the Kell Brook fight. Look at Danny Jacobs' fight. When he's on the back foot, when he's hit with punches and he puts his hands up, that's where he's most vulnerable. Golovkin's at his most dangerous when he's hunting you down and getting your back against the ropes. That's where Golovkin, because then he can put full leverage in all the shots he puts in. He can't put full leverage when you're backing him up against the ropes and his back's towards the ropes. You've got to make sure Golovkin's back is against the ropes. If Canelo can put Golovkin's back against the ropes, he beats Golovkin. Simple. I've said it 1,001 times. Andy Lee. Yeah, I'd love to see the fight against Andy Lee. Andy Lee, he is a world-class puncher. And what about Kid Chocolate versus Chris Eubank Jr.? Another interesting fight. Kid Chocolate punches with both hands. I think Lee punches. He can knock you out with that left hand. He can knock you out. He's dangerous, but he carries some vulnerabilities himself. Gabriel Goodtest Jr. would dismantle him. Junior size of Lemieux would cause problems. Yup, Lomo versus Salido is a perfect example. What's your thoughts on Mayweather McGregor being £80 on pay-per-view in the UK? I can see a lot of people watching free streams. Agreed. That's why Hagler would beat Triple G. I'd love to see Benavidez versus Eubank. I'd like to see Eubank if Benavidez fight anybody of world class at this minute in time. My thoughts on McGregor, he's going to get himself knocked out. Anybody who's backing McGregor, I want you to go. There's a video that's going around at the moment of McGregor in his MMA fights. McGregor's got no defense. McGregor stops shots with his chin and his head. And McGregor's open to a straight right hand. And Mayweather's got the best straight right hand in the business. And McGregor's got no defense. And he was talking about, oh, what happens if McGregor lands the left hand? What happens if Floyd lands the right hand? I'd only be talking about Floyd in the right hand. I think you're going to see an aggressive Floyd Mayweather come out. I think he's going to tuck up tight. He's going to march McGregor forward, and he's going to hit him with right hands. And he's going to hit him with so many right hands, McGregor's not going to know if he's coming or he's going. I'm telling you, he's going to knock McGregor out. Floyd's not a puncher. Watch this fight. He'll knock McGregor out, I think. Watch on stream. Floyd said, please don't watch streams. I laugh my tits off if Floyd's Achilles goes haystyle. £80 ripoff, but I'll watch it. But certainly won't pay that. You think Chris Eubank Jr. versus Porky Medina? Whoa, now you're talking. I like Porky Medina. I do like it. I think it's a good fight. Another flat-footed guy coming forward. Flat-footed. But Eubank Jr. is doing what they're doing. shout out to the Eubanks. I'm so glad that they're doing what they're doing. They're not with any of the other promoters. I am so happy for them. Let them keep doing their thing, and I'm happy for them, and I'll back them all the way. Because I back them and because I support what they do, it doesn't mean I'm going to be biased in my commentary towards them. But that guy is supremely fit. I remember training, running along that same beach, I run up and down them steps in Brighton. I'll tell you, them steps in Brighton are unbelievable. Eubank versus Langford, don't make me laugh. Come on, mate, don't make me laugh, please. Eubank, mate, Edge Groves. You always had a soft spot for Porky. I like Porky. He's a good fighter. Didn't that Turkish guy in Super 8 knock the girl's teeth out? No, it was Badu Jackman knocked his teeth out. Junior could possibly break the stigma of a son of a champion not being good. Yeah, he's on the way to doing that. Because I don't know, I've made the argument before. How many world championship fathers or world-class fighters who were world champions had sons that were better than them? Eubank's got a long way to go there. Remember, he has to have a nemesis. He'll need to have to fight a Nigel Benn, a Michael Watson, a Steve Collins. So there's 3 guys already that Eubank Jr. will have to face. His dad never took part in the Super 8 tournament. But his dad was very clever. His dad was smarter than Eubank Jr. because Eubank Sr. would never have put himself in a position that he did against Billy Joe Saunders. That's for sure. I've seen that the British Box Ball have ordered Yard versus Burton and Buglioni versus Johnson. Good fight. I like that fight. Sullivan Barrera beating Smith. Oh, good example, Joe Smith. There we go. This is a good example. A guy knocks a few guys out. He's got some punching power. Oh, he's a puncher. Oh, well, if he's a puncher, he'll knock everybody out. Whoa, hold on a second. Oh, well, Andre Ward beat him, so Joe Smith will beat him. No. Stop. Andre Ward is a masterclass boxer. Joe Smith is an average boxer that could punch. Put things in perspective. Now, when you're a puncher, all that punching power goes to the side when you fight a world-class fighter that can box, can take a shot, and when you throw your big shot, he can get up off the deck. So Sullivan Barrera beating Joe Smith, for me, was expected. I didn't expect anything different. Joe Smith is a good fighter, slugger. And if he fought Adonis Stephen, he'd get wiped out. But you would see if the fight ever happened. Hi, Ingram. Your opinion why the 168? Hello, Eugene. Good to see you in the room. Has only one solid belt on the line. Good question. Very good question. Who the heck picked Joe Smith over Barrera? People with an agenda, I guess, Rascal. Good question. I have no idea, but I'm sure it's still with sanctioning fees. Sanctioning fees and yeah, probably sanctioning fees. I think that's probably to do with that, really. The IBF champion is supposedly got a shoulder injury. Gilberto Ramirez, what the hell is going on with Ramirez? What the hell's going on with him? I mean, he's arguably the best super middleweight, in the world because he beat Arthur Abraham. But I'd like to see Gilberto Ramirez fight more. Yes, Joshua, legit pedigree. Last year was being hyped up. I did read it. It was the Turk, but may have been speculation. I don't know, but I want to know. Yeah, the Turk looks dodgy. LOL. Can't have a full-time job and fight professionally. Not at this level. I agree. The Turk's record isn't that good. Nothing special. To be fair, Smith was coming off some impressive wins. Yeah. But your punching power can only take you so far, right? Injured hand, Gilberto Ramirez. Yeah, I'd like to see him back in the ring. I think he's a top fighter. Do you see the Cruiserweight tournament as being more competitive, and who's your favourite as it stands at the moment? First of all, I don't think Usyk wins that tournament. I don't. And here's my point. I don't think, and when I say this, it's not a bias. It's just something I noticed. Usyk has now no longer got Bashir in his corner. Usyk and Bashir was the reason why Usyk was able to use that movement, box, not get hit, and land beautiful shots. He's going into a tournament where everyone is a banger in that tournament. Everyone's a banger. And Usyk's not the biggest puncher in the Cruiserweight division. So he's got some tough fights ahead of him, and he's getting hit more. I'm not convinced he'll win that Super 8. I'm really not. But we'll have to wait and see. I'd love to see him win it. I really would. But I'm not sure. I'll have to look at the 8, and I'm going to make my prediction after that. So we'll have to look into that. Gassiev does look very impressive. Very impressive. Abel Sanchez trained. Sanchez fight is a seek and destroy, so Gassiev is dangerous. The same as you. I see Usyk apparently beats everyone. I don't see it somehow. There's Breedis, and you've got the other guy, Gassiev. Those are two guys you need to be very careful of. So let's see how he does against Marco Huck. I'm expecting to outbox Huck, but we'll see. The Cruiserweight division has the most punches. Usyk is one who can box, but no power. I agree. Gassiev has got, Gassiev is a dangerous man. Glowacki has great wins over Cunningham and Huck, and was only given the reserve spot. Even Huck decent, yeah. He's got missiles, Russian ones. Usyk fight Ali Bashir. I hope Usyk loses. Ha! Hi, below. Pekadek, a long time no see. Good to see you in the room. I can see Usyk losing in that tournament because, again, footwork. And see with Bashir and him, he would have been developing and becoming a much better fighter because his trainer would have got him to the next level. You know, you come back to camp, you work on things, you get better. You work on things. You've got a master tactician in the corner with Bashir he would have had going into this tournament. Now he doesn't have that. He loses that master tactician, what to work on, things to work on, that an amateur coach or a coach that is less experienced at the professional ranks as Bashir is Usyk's going to lose out on. And I think that is a bad power move in terms of going forward. Abel Sanchez with Gassiev, he's got a world-class trainer in there who's experienced. And I think going into these tournaments, you need a world-class trainer who's going to be able to put a game plan together. Another key thing. And I rate Ronnie Davis. I don't know how much of Eubank's father is going to be a pain, is going to be a hindrance, or it's going to be a blessing having his father in the corner. There's nothing wrong with having your dad support you. There's nothing wrong with having your dad on the side. But him actually getting you through the ropes and talking to you, I got a problem with that. Usyk has to be favorite best boxer out of the lot. Yeah, but he's getting hit a lot. Gassiev punches harder than David Haye at cruiserweights. Just see if he can take a shot. If Bellew is a legit cruiserweight champion, #1, as he boasts, shouldn't he be in the tournament? I made that point before. I've made it. I've said it. I don't talk much more about Tony Bellew. I've said my point. Druids would have been good in the cruiserweight series. Usyk might have David Price chin. We don't know. I think he takes a good shot. Prime Johnny Nelson would have done well in the Super 8. Gassiev, the way he throws and lands on people is something else. Lethal puncher. James Toney would have been great in the cruiserweight. James Toney, maybe Thomas Hearns, who was in the cruiserweight division then. Tommy Hearns at cruiserweight was quite interesting to look at. Yeah. Evander Holyfield. Imagine Evander Holyfield being in that tournament. Wow. Now, the real deal would have been my favorite in that tournament. Takes a great shot, throws lots of punches, great stamina, great big heart, good footwork, good movement. Evander Holyfield would have been my man. Serious question. Nelson versus Haye at cruiserweight. Haye? Because Nelson was scared. Because Nelson would have been scared of Haye's punching power. He would have clammed up, I think. Good. Got to work. Got a good show. Enjoy it. Thank you very much, Leah the Wizard. 1976. You're forgetting the Irish with Cuban. Oh, wow. Mike Perez. Dangerous. Down at Cruiserweight. That brother's dangerous. He's dangerous. Dangerous. If there was a super series at the 147 division, do you think Spence is the favorite? And could you see it happening? Spence gets hit too often. Spence doesn't move his head. I like Spence. I love Spence, but he gets hit too often. Sorry. Gets way too often. I don't know. I think Spence is a good fighter. Definitely a good fighter. And he took them blows of Kell Brook, but he hits too often. Perez looks very good aesthetically. Needed that Tommy McCarthy fight at Cruiserweight, but he pulled out. Yeah, that's a shame. Is he in the tournament? I think Mike Perez is in the tournament, isn't he? He's dangerous, Mike Perez. Very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Spencer, good fighter, but a hype is silly. Yeah, I think so. Thurman, Crawford, or Paul, or people pound for pound, horn for the one. When there's a proper champions at the weight, listen. The fight we all need to be rewired looking at is Crawford versus Ndongo, the undisputed light welterweight championship of the world. Great fight. Great fight. Looking forward to that. Horn to win Super 8. Oh, dear. Mate, people are taking this Horn thing too far. Way too far. And Horn number 1 on Buckstraight. Don't joking me. Don't be joking me. Do not be joking me. Don't listen. Errol Spence will make mincemeat of Horn. Danny Garcia beats Horn. Keith Thurman beats Horn. Sean Porter beats Horn. Yeah. All them guys beat Horn, man. Come on, man. Come on. Get serious, man. I mean, he was brave and he was strong and he was tough, but my God. Oh, listen. Horn had elbows, headbutts. Yeah, I like Lee Selby. Shout out to Lee Selby. Listen, that boy's got bags of heart. And condolences to the Selby family with his mother and everything. So condolences to his family. You know, to box after you have an argument with a girlfriend is one thing. But to box after a member of family's passed away and you got a guy coming at you all the time, man, that was a good performance from Selby. He looked good. I like what he did. I like Selby. Like Selby, probably Lee Selby for me, and I'll keep on saying about Lee Selby, and I'll keep on saying one thing. When Lee Selby throws his punches, he leaves his chin in the air and he pulls straight back from punches. When you pull straight back from punches, there's always a possibility you're going to get tagged with a left hook. That's how he got knocked down by Hunter, and that is his biggest vulnerability. When Selby pulls back out from punches, the left hook getting clipped from it. I'd like to see him pull to the sides or slip inside. I don't want to see Selby pulling straight back from shots. That's the only thing about Lee Selby that I just, when I watch him fight, I'm like, please, please, please don't get nailed. Please, please, please don't get nailed. So that's it. Other than that, now I'm backing Selby for the fight. He's a big guy for the weight. I think Selby is a better fighter, a better boxer. I think more skilled than Frampton. I think Frampton's a good fighter, but he's moving up a weight again. Nah, I think Selby's the man. Sorry, Selby beats him in my opinion. I like Selby. In the division, there's not much between the top 5. Thoughts on Kid Galahad, the next fight with Quigg? Not much you can say, really. Congratulations, Kid Galahad. And did I meet Kid Galahad? Was it Kid Galahad I bumped into? I was mixed the two up. There's Kid Galahad and there's the other one. I keep confusing the two guys. Kid Galahad and there's another one. Who's the other guy from Sheffield? Oh. I keep confusing the two guys, but I bumped into one of them. Galahad versus Quigg would be a high quality European belt fight. Yeah, good fight. See that Robbie Davis got KO'd. O'Hara had field day on Twitter. Well, I said again, Robbie Davis is again another guy defensively irresponsible. Didn't think he was that. I think he's a good fighter. I got respect for any fighter that gets in the ring. But when you talk about world class and fighting at world elite level, he wasn't ready for that. And commiserations, Robbie Davis. While it did, no, not while it did. No. The guy I'm talking about, it's Kid Galahad, and there's another one. There's one who won the world title, and there's another guy. I keep confusing the two guys. Oh shoot! I can't remember who the guy is. Oh, and if I remember the guys, it's Kid Galahad, and there's another one. Not Scott Quigg. Kid Galahad is another fighter, and I can't remember what the guy's name is. Oh, it's killing. Oh, Sheffield-based Kid Galahad, another one. I interviewed him as well. No, not Nassim Hamed. I interviewed him. I interviewed Kid Galahad, but there's the other guy. The other one won the world championship. He's with Eddie Hearn. He won the world title. Similar weight. Small guy. Junior Witter. He's fighting at the moment. No, not Arfan Iqbal, but congratulations to him anyway in his recent fight. Not adult Galahad. No, Joker. No. Adam Ali, good to see you in the room, Adam. Yeah, that's it. Calify, that's it. I keep confusing the two. Calify and Kid Galahad. I keep confusing those two guys. Yes. Now, Calify is the guy I met, not Kid Galahad. I interviewed Kid Galahad, but it was Calify I met in Tesco's in Sheffield. I met him as a photograph of I posted on Twitter. Him and a few others, I think a couple of days before in Sheffield, just before Joshua was to fight. Yeah, 5 Birmingham. Yeah, Calify, that's the guy. Yeah, what do you think of Haymaker ring star signing Joyce? Yeah, Joyce signing with Haymaker. Joyce will have to get a move on. Thoughts? Haymaker saying he's going to win a title in 5 fights. I think we heard that before. Listen, I just want to see these guys develop, and build. And I'll say it before. He should be fast-tracked. Yeah, I know he should be fast-tracked. But it's fast-tracked and fast-tracked. You can fast-track a man, and he can make millions of pounds, and he can do really well. And you can fast-track a guy and get him knocked out. You understand what I mean by fast-track? He needs to be well-managed in that fast-tracking. So I agree with as I said, he needs to get a move on, but he needs to be fast-tracked in a sensible manner, okay? Vernon Page, yeah, it's good to see Vernon Page saying he'd wipe out Chris Eubank Jr. Lomachenko was well fast-tracked. Well, he was fast-tracked and he lost in his first fight, did he, against Salido? Or second fight, he lost against Salido. So that wasn't really smartly wise, just fast-tracked, was it? And then he fought Gary Russell Jr. after that, but he lost 1 fight. So, thoughts on the Dave deal, 20 fights a year, free to air TV. Good luck to them. As long as they're good fights, I think people are going to care. David Haye done at top level, quite possibly. Surely MVP should just stick to MMA. Can't see him doing much this late in boxing. Who knows? Might happen. No point messing around with Joyce. He's 31. Get him in with Dave Allen. Yeah, we know that if he fights Dave Allen and beats Dave Allen, that effectively is the end of Dave Allen's career. It's a sad thing to say about Dave Allen. Operation White Rhino is going down the drain fast, and Dave Allen's got to do something. Dave Allen wasn't. You think about it, he was on the cusp. If he'd won that Commonwealth title, he could have gone on and fought for the British title. He could have been British and Commonwealth champion in 2 fights. Imagine that. He needs to get himself sorted. He needs to get himself he needs to get himself settled. He needs to get himself with no disrespect to training he's got, that a top class trainer that's going to take him places. He needs to be dedicating himself at Dave Allen if he wants it. I suspect he's going to regret it looking back in his career 4 or 5 years from now. It's a shame because the guy, I love Dave Allen. I just love to see him do a lot more of his career. And I've told him to his face. I've sat down in front of his face and we had a meal together. We had a meal last time I was in Sheffield together, and I sat in front of him. I went to his house, right? and I sat down. We were having a meal together with me and him and Dennis Hobson and a few others. And I sat down and I spoke to Dave. I said, Dave, wouldn't you fight Lenroy Thomas, right? Move your head. High work rate. Try not to get hit as much. Cross-arm defense. Don't get hit with so many shots. You got a great chin, but don't use that as your form of defense. Block the shots and land shots. Well, what do I know about boxing? Well, Lenroy beat him. So, yeah, I just feel sorry for Dave. And I said to him way before this, when he was still an unbeaten fighter, if you don't watch yourself, you're going to end up being used as a journeyman. Dillian White fight. Okay, we'll give him Dillian White fight. Then he fights Ortiz. Okay, you know, a lot of people thought he'd beat Ortiz. He would beat Ortiz. I didn't think he stood a chance against Ortiz. Okay, fine, fair enough. Okay, you get back-to-back wins. Okay, now let's see you do something consistent with your career. Boom. Yes. You need somebody to get him around his neck and say, "Come on, Dave, you can do this." But you know, you can only take a person so far. You can only take a horse to water. You can't make him drink. Should never have lost to Lenroy. I agree. If Groves loses to Eubank and Allen loses to Joyce, who would be closer to suicide? They both look like they could top themselves any given moment. I'm not answering that question. Dave Allen needs to go down to cruiserweight. I'm not sure if that's going to make a difference. It's the mindset. You know, I don't think it's losing weight's not the problem. Dave Allen can be best shape as possible. It's just the mindset, where he wants to be. Is he taking this seriously? Does he take his career seriously? Does he want to be fighting the sky? Does he believe he can be British champion? It's all about belief. If I was managing Dave Allen's career, the first thing I would do, I'd get him to go and see an NLP coach, neuro-linguistic programming, and tell him to get rid of the bad habits within his mindset and reset his mind and say, listen, let's work with you with a sports psychologist for 6 months and let's get you reprogrammed to get you out there and doing the business. I think it would be great for Dave Allen's career. So Nathan Gorman, he's coming on nicely. He's coming on nicely. Groves has much more to lose than Allen, but Groves is in a big tournament. So, you know, Groves, he's got a lot to lose, but he's got a lot to win as well. And I tell you something, the tournament might suit Groves because he'll be fighting consistently. So he will come down to super middle. I know he's struggling to make super middle, but he's fighting consistently. That may suit Groves down to the ground. Comedy act. I'm close to suicide. Any advice? Call Samaritans. I'm sparring all the top 5. Let's see, check this game. In sparring, all the top 5 have said he's very good, has a ring set, but doesn't transition it into the ring. Yep, that's about right. Run on a train track, LOL. Sort your head out and go for a run. I went to the Gorman fight the other night. Lad can punch. Destroyed the other guy in 4 or 5 rounds. Yeah, Gorman's a good fighter. Rogi, the grass is always green on the other side. I'm thinking of piping the exhaust. Rogi, have a cup of tea. What about the Polish fella who destroyed Spilka? Yeah, he's decent. He's pretty decent. Stop Spilka in 4 rounds. But let's remember, Spilka got knocked out. I mean, he was almost comatized by a Wilder. That was a bad knockout. Not many fighters come out from being plastered like that and do well. Spilka had a good chin up to that point. I think what's his name might have ruined it. So I think it's the end of Arthur Spilka top level. That's what I can say about that. Odds for Dave Allen to be here in still 2020, and odds for Groves to be still in 2020. What's the odds looking like? George Hairline 2-1 on to receive another 10 centimeters. Dave needs to fight German like Sokolowski to give him more rounds and develop his offense. Yep. Spilka's jaw was shattered by a quad. I do say that. I've said that. Yeah. Well, more news to give you. Wilder Stavern around September 30th. That's what I'm hearing at the moment. September 30th. Don't quote me on that. September 30th seems to be the date I think they were negotiating with Wilder. He's got one more fight on Showtime. However, there are rumors he might be going to HBO as well. Jay Prince, manager of Andre Ward, is now managing also Bermane Stiverne, and we're going to work as hard as we can behind the scenes to get an interview with the legendary James Prince. It's going to be interesting. James Prince, I understand, and Al Heyman are not the best of friends, but I understand that Don King's doing the negotiating with Al Heyman for this fight. So, yeah. Both flabby lads can fight, though. I like to see John Ruiz, I like Ruiz Jr. back. Right. I am going to bring this to an end. Thank you all so much for watching. I don't think there's anything else I can really talk to you about at the moment. Yeah, I will definitely. I've always liked you, Ingy. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Rogie. Ingy, that's nice. I haven't been called that for many years. You legend. Yeah, I think that's the end of it now. I'm going to go and do an hour of gaming. I'm currently managing the England football team. We're doing well. We've qualified for the World Cup. So got the Euros coming up. So check out the gaming channel. Of course, if you're into your sports, just finished doing an interview yesterday with Renee Washington. Very interesting interview with the sports journalist from the USA. Check it out. No, Ingram, don't go. Just got here. Well, if you want to continue talking with me, come over to the gaming channel. I'll be live on the gaming channel for the next few hours, at least till midnight. So come over, have a chat in the gaming room. If you don't know how to get there, just go and click down the bottom of the subscription box. So go down the bottom of the description box. BWTM Gaming. Check me out over there. I'm managing the England side. You see what I do as a manager. All right, I'm out of here, folks. Thank you all so much for watching. Check out the I'll hopefully be putting up the Bermane Stiverne interview with talking about Wilder and amongst other things with Jay Prince soon. Love your content, Ingram. Excellent boxing insight tonight, bud. So I do what I can. But just anyone who's going to bet on McGregor, just go and look at McGregor's fights. Check his defense, how he blocks punches, particularly how he blocks the right hand, being a southpaw. I don't think he can make those adjustments fast enough before he fights Mayweather. That's a problem. And he's coming down to 154 pounds. I don't know how he does over 12 rounds with that 154 pounds. Have you interviewed Russell? No, I haven't, but I probably will be talking to him at some point. I probably might see him when I'm in Sheffield. Hopefully, I'll see him this weekend. Well, next weekend. Yeah. Oh, finally. Are there do anybody know any boxing gyms in Middlesbrough and Teesside? I'm going to be out there next week. So if I can find anybody who knows anything about boxing gyms in Teesside, it'd be great. Right. I'm out. See you over at BWTM Gaming. Thanks for watching. Much love to all. Take care.